Hello and welcome back to the channel, folks. HeirofCarthage here. Did you need some more Rome 2 in your life? Well, absolutely you did. That's why you're here, and I am here to provide it. So welcome to the pyramids. We get a beautiful view today for the video here. Pyramids, man. This also makes me want to see some like future like Napoleonic type action. I have to say, like, I really hope Pharaoh is good because that reminds me of Pharaoh as well. But it's funny because my first reaction was thinking about how cool it would be to have something set in the Napoleonic time period again. So I am excited for Pharaoh. I am going to play it, and we'll give it the best shot. But man, I'm not going to lie. Like, I was definitely gunning for, well, honestly, if I got to pick like a new one, obviously I would pick Rome 3. But outside of that, I would certainly like something set in the like 1600s to like late 1800s. So like a giant full world empire total war type map. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the battle. Macedon is here with some slingers. It looks like they've got 2 of those up front, and then, or sorry, 3 up front. And then it looks like a javelinman supporting over here. So that's not like your Agrionian axemen. They still have the javelins, but they're not going to be great at melee. We do have a full line of shield bearers, which is a very interesting pick here. Now, shield bearers come with just absolutely outstanding armor, pretty solid melee defense, health, all that type of thing. Very good attack. Their spears do not deal the elite AP damage, but still a pretty potent unit in certain fights. It's going to be an interesting one up against the Suebi, having all this really heavy spears. We see an Aspis companion cavalry here too. The interesting thing about the Aspis cav is that anything with low armor is going to suffer at the hands of these guys. The Suebi do not technically carry a lot of armor on a bunch of their units. They do have plenty of support, so should be interesting. We do have some Sarissa cavalry here too, which is an insanely cheap shot cavalry. So trying to make up for the cost of those Aspis cav, no doubt. And then there's another Sarissa cavalry on either flank. Got to make up for the cost of all these elite units. And then out here, some mercenary Thracian cavalry. Now these guys, pretty good in a melee after they've discharged their javelins, but also who's pretty good is the Germanic scout riders that are on the other side, as well as those noble riders. And there's another Germanic scout rider on the other side. We cannot see the Suebi general at the moment. There are Germanic slingers. Those are going to be a pain in the butt for the Macedonian slingers, 2 to 1. Germanic slingers would probably win, to be honest. Scout riders are pretty capable, but I don't know that they want to be getting in here into melee with 3 Thracian cavalry. Well, I mean, unless they're attempting to fix them for the noble riders. But this does not look like it's going to end well for the Suebi here. I think this was a little too aggressive. The Germanic riders and the Sarissa cavalry moving in for the finish. I don't think they're going to find it. There are some mercenary Thracian warriors working each flank along with the Sarissa cavalry. That's actually a really nice 1-2 punch. I do believe there's a hidden bonus versus large on Falx and Romphia, and I believe these guys are Romphia. I could be wrong, but I think they are. They're not going to be very good in a cavalry charge, but they will cut down cavalry fairly effectively if the Sarissa cavalry can hold them. So it's an interesting 1-2 combo there. Very nice skirmishing by the Thracian cavalry at this point. Let's go check out the Suebi infantry line. We're going to see Spear Levy and Spear Wall immediately available. Bloodsworn, which are going to be good against armor to an extent. I mean, when you look at their damage, like, it's very low. It's only 15. It is better than standard AP damage, but that is just really low damage. I don't think Bloodsworn are going to do well against a line of shield bearers unless they pulled off an absolutely outstanding fast charge and then got some good backup. You can see there's Berserkers over here, so there may be some good backup units here. Now, Berserkers can cause some pretty good damage. They carry a sword. Their weapon damage is not all that outstanding, but they have tremendous attack and they have a bonus versus infantry, so they will still land some very devastating damage into an infantry fight, regardless of their lack of armor piercing there. Some Cimbri bowwomen popping up, Woden-ass spears becoming visible. A noble rider moved back into the woods, so yeah, it looks like at least 2 Cimbri bowwomen for the Suebi. And interesting, Cimbri bowwomen are going to have to really aim for the flank of these shield bearers if they want to have an effect there. Same for the Germanic slingers. So I think if the Suebi want to win here, they're going to have to really take their time and clear out the Macedonian slingers and keep those Thracian cavalry at bay. they're going to need to really pump some damage into the enemy infantry in order to weaken it enough for their infantry to have a chance. That's my opinion. Wodenaz Spear General, again, not going to love a fight with shield bearers, so I feel like the Suebi line in general is going to have a very tough time with these shield bearers. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not always correct in the way that I see a fight turning out, but we will see. So like I said, I'd like to see the Suebi attempt to really dig in and get that missile supremacy here so that they can then, you know, do something like focusing their bow fire into a flank of the shield bearers or something like that. But they do have to contend with these Thracian cavalry, and it's going to be a pain in the butt. It's not going to be easy. Ooh, those berserkers. Those berserkers. Oy. They don't want to take a bunch of damage from those javelins. That would be a lot of money down the drain. So that's a nice target by the Thracian cavalry. Javcav is insanely valuable if you are able to use it properly. I mean, it is very valuable. Interesting here, the Macedonians are going to just flat out ignore the Germanic slingers because, I mean, why not? It's pretty hard to kill them anyway. And they're just going to start shredding into the Bloodsworn. That's an interesting tactic, and one that very well could work, because I've already told you that I feel like Suebi is going to have a hard time. Ooh, the Suebi got baited into this too. The Noble Riders come after the Sarissas, and this is going to give these Thracian cavalry an opportunity to just unload on them. And that Sarissa cavalry is very cheap. The the Thracian warrior is going to come in after the spear levy, but nicely countered by the Bloodsworn, where it's going to get trapped here. But still, that leaves the Noble Rider kind of tucked out on their own, and this Thracian warrior is going to get hurt really bad here by the Suebi charge, but they're also going to get a lot of kills, because that's what they do. And then on the other flank, the Sarissa cavalry managed to grab the Noble Riders too, but here the Suebi have good support. A second Sarissa cavalry being sent to aid. It's not going to do a ton to these guys on the charge. It will do some hit point damage, and if these Falx warriors can, the Thracian warriors can cut through the Bloodsworn quick enough, they can double back into the fight against the Noble Cav. But that Noble Cavalry is dropping those units very quickly. Suebi are gaining the missile advantage that I figured they would need, and they are now unloading their bows into the shield bearer general. The Macedonians, they do indeed need to cause tremendous damage to the shield bearers, but the shield bearers are going to be fairly impervious from the front with that armor and those big hoplite shields. They're going to be doing well against missile fire, as well as any unit can do. So the Suebi are going to have to deal with that. Though they do have some cavalry free. That Aspis companion cavalry too is going to be an absolute nightmare for the Suebi if they can't keep those Noble Riders alive to get after it. It will just absolutely crush almost any unit in the background here, except for the Wodenaz Spear. And even then, it would probably crush them on the charge. Nice play by the Suebi here. Goodbye to the Macedonian slingers. Rest in pieces, you sweet princes of Macedon. They're going to be sent to the afterlife. And then we've got a shield bearer heading out to the flank, and several of them in the front. Let's just see how the Suebi troops fare here. They'll do good on the charge. They'll get a really nice charge bonus. Outside of that, though, was that a fast charge general? It was not. I don't believe it was a fast charge general. They did get a really good charge, and they're kind of cycling their charges here. I mean, maybe if that spear wall can let the Bloodsworn cycle a couple, and the Berserkers are nearby. That Aspis cavalry there, though, being supported by that shield bearer, it's going to be very difficult to take down. But let's see whether I gauge the competency of these Germanic troops in combat against shield bearers properly. This Bloodsworn got 24 kills, which is honestly good. And look at this nice surrounding move by the Wodenaz. Well played by the Suebi here. Nice surround. The Wodenaz do well against armor. They're not amazing, but they've got the best anti-armor spear there is in the game. Look at the Thracian cavalry here rolling into the Cimbri bowwomen. The bowwomen do pull out spears for defense, and that will be a tough contention against the Thracian cavalry, who don't have a lot of armor to withstand that. The Aspis cavalry here fighting off Berserkers and Noble Riders. That Slinger there in trouble too. The Noble Riders going to be fairly well suited to fighting the Aspis Cav, but the Aspis Cav is fresher and less injured, so it will have. It won't do terrible in this fight over here against all these Noble Cavalry. I think it would be better used against all these infantry and rear charges, but at the moment it's doing what it can. Look at this, the Macedonian general gonna go down here. The Wodenaz Spears picking up 29 kills, 48 on that Bloodsworn. That is actually a pretty spectacular job, and I think that the Suebi infantry overperformed the expectations that I had for them here. And some of them are moving back, hoping to get some extra charges, and they're just letting the Cimbri bowwomen unload into the shield bearer here. Unsure why that unit's just standing there. It's now being moved, so it must have just been a moment of micro lapse there. Got the Aspis Cav here. They have got a tremendous number of kills, about 200 already. And they should be able to get themselves free over here into these skirmishers, and that's exactly what they're going to do. The Suebi do have the Wodenaz Spear General back here to try and stop that Aspis Cavalry. They want to do so quickly. Here comes the cavalry counter-tactics, and the Aspis Cav are going to crash back over here into the Bloodsworn. And then just try and rack up as many kills as they can get, and they did get a lot. There's a tremendous number of kills, but they need a tremendous number of kills to pay for their really high cost. They did a good job there wrapping up that fight. That noble rider is still over here with 17 units left. They're being pursued by the Aspis Companion Cavalry. And they did get a charge there. They are still racking up kills, 275 and climbing. There are still missiles left, and so I feel like that bodes very well for the Suebi, especially this Germanic Slinger back here. It does good anti-armor damage back here. That's a real trouble for Macedon. However, if they, this Aspis Cavalry can now take care of that Slinger. It's going to charge that Spear unit, interesting enough. It needs to get back there to that Slinger. Desperately needs to get to the Slinger. And that's where it is headed. We'll see if any of them survive the charge. They're up over 300 kills, but they're wavering from being attacked in the rear and losses. So they might rout before they get there. And they did, man. Even those 5 cavalry would have made a big difference back there. So that one's a tough loss for Macedon. There's a very healthy shield bearer here, though. And if ammunition runs low for the Suebi, things could get awkward in trying to finish off that shield bearer, unless they did a really good job of... no, they can do it here between these two Wodenaz Spears. They get cycle charged. There's another spear wall here, yeah. So the Suebi, I think, comfortably have this one here in the end. Ton of kills for a lot of these Macedonian units, but they were at a huge numbers disadvantage to begin with. And then these Slingers getting left until late game were a problem. That Aspis Cavalry got a ton of kills, but these are definitely some of the kills that they needed to make if possible. Obviously, it was not easily done. The Suebi players not going to just surrender those units. Still a pretty epic performance from Macedon's elite army. That's not an army you're going to see every day, and it was a fun one. I don't know how much ammunition those Slingers have left, but they're probably not going to stop firing for a little while still. They are getting tremendous value right now, putting damage into that shield bearer. I do believe those 2 Wodenaz Spears were quite capable of taking out even a couple of shield bearers. Probably not 1-to-1 head-on, but they do well regardless. So a fun battle there between Hotel Soap and Vortigant Sauce. I believe Vortigant played in some of the sub-commanders battles that I was into. He's a good player, so fun to see Hotel Soap and Sauce go on in this one. That was a really cool Macedon army. It didn't work out this time, but it's an interesting one in the fact that it brings that elite infantry that people wouldn't expect from Macedon. It's going to sacrifice some weight on cavalry, but oh my gosh, I mean, look what could possibly happen here. 303 kills. I mean, we're in like elephant territory here with the Aspis Cav. Now, of course, they're also in that same cost territory. And then as far as the shield bearers, 3 of them did well, 2 of them not so much. And that was enough, I think, to help throw it to this favor this way, because if you look at the kills here on these Bloodsworn, it doesn't look impressive, but remember the cost of these units is extremely low. The cost of the shield bearers is extremely high, and that's how the Suebi ended up really coming out on top here. The numbers played to their favor, and in the end, they had numbers left. Amongst those were these Germanic Slingers, which are hard to take out because of their shield block chance. But a fun one there. Anyway, appreciate the 2 players. HeirofCarthage signing out for now. I'll see you all soon with some more action in Total War Rome 2.